I gave the freezer meals my mother-in-law filled my kitchen with to the food bank. So my mother-in-law Carol has this thing where she thinks I can't feed my own family. I've been married to her son Danny for 6 years, and she's brought it up at least once a month the whole time. You look tired, honey. Are you eating enough? Is Danny eating enough? Danny is 200 pounds and eats like a horse, but okay. Back in the spring I mentioned, kind of offhand, that some weeks got busy and we ordered takeout more than I'd like. That was my mistake. I said it once, at a Sunday dinner, and Carol just went quiet and nodded like I'd confessed something. 2 weeks later she showed up with a cooler, then another cooler. She'd been meal prepping for us. Lasagnas, chicken casseroles, these tuna bake things, all frozen in her own containers with masking tape labels. She stacked them in my freezer while I stood there saying, "Oh, Carol, you didn't have to." She said, "Somebody has to." I let it go. I figured it was a one-time thing. It was not a one-time thing. Every couple weeks, more containers. My freezer filled up so I couldn't fit anything of ours. I bought a second freezer for the garage. She filled that too. At one point I counted 41 containers. Here's the part that got me. She started asking me to report on them. She'd call, "Did you have the shepherd's pie yet? How was it?" And I'd have to have an answer. So I started actually eating them just to survive the phone calls. The food was fine. That's not the point. The point is I stopped cooking. 6 months in, I realized I hadn't made a single meal from scratch since April. Danny would come home and go straight to the freezer and read the labels like a menu. "Ooh, mom made the enchilada one. Mom made." In my house, every single night mom made dinner. I said something to Danny about it. I said, "I feel like I don't cook anymore." He said, "Why would you? They're already made. It's free food, babe. Free." Then Carol brought over a laminated inventory sheet, an actual laminated sheet with a dry erase marker attached by a string so I could cross off meals as we ate them and she'd know what to restock. She stuck it to my fridge with a magnet shaped like a rooster, her rooster, on my fridge. I took it down. She put it back up the next visit and said, "It fell." The thing that broke it was Thanksgiving. I offered to host. I planned the whole menu. I was excited. I hadn't cooked a real meal in months and I wanted to. Carol called 3 days before and said, "Don't worry about the sides. I froze a bunch. We'll just heat those up." I said I wanted to make the sides. She said, "Honey, we both know how that goes. We both know how that goes." I said, "Okay." I said it sweetly. I did not argue. That Saturday, I loaded every container from both freezers into my car. 41 of them, plus the 12 she dropped for Thanksgiving. 53 total. I drove them to the food bank downtown. The woman at the loading dock was thrilled. They just had a fridge donation and needed food to fill it. I helped her carry it all in. I kept the containers. Actually, I washed them out that night and stacked them clean on my counter. Carol came over Sunday to check the inventory for her Thanksgiving restock. She opened the garage freezer first. Empty. Then the kitchen one. Empty. She turned around holding the rooster magnet like a little gavel. "Where is everything?" I said, "I gave it to the food bank." She laughed. The way you laugh when you're sure you misheard. "You what?" I said, "There were 53 meals. We're 2 people. I donated them to families who actually need them. I kept your containers. They're washed. They're on the counter." Her face did something I've never seen it do. Danny walked in from the garage and said, "You gave away all the food?" And I looked right at him and said, "No, I gave away all of your mom's food. I'm making dinner tonight." Carol said, "6 months of work. I did that for this family." I said, "I never asked you to. I asked you once this spring and you turned my kitchen into your kitchen. It's mine again." She grabbed her rooster magnet off the fridge and her marker off the string and put them in her purse. She said, "Well, I guess you don't need me." And I said, "I guess I don't." She looked at Danny to back her up. He looked at the floor. I made pork chops that night from scratch. Danny ate 2 and said they were the best thing he'd had in months, then caught himself because we both knew what he was saying. Carol hasn't set foot in my kitchen since. The rooster magnet is on her fridge now, where it belongs.